Hi there, tech people. Welcome to another episode of English with Tech Girl, your go to podcast for American English in the tech industry. I'm your host, Lydia, and today we're going to talk about an essential aspect of modern work life conference calls. Whether you're a seasoned professional or a newbie in the tech industry, mastering effective communication during conference calls is crucial. So we'll cover some useful phrases and share tips on holding online meetings. So let's dive right in. Before we get into the specifics, let's start with a phrase that can be handy when you need a short break during a lengthy conference call. You can say, let's take 5. Let's take 5. This indicates you like to pause the discussion temporarily for a short break. It's a polite way to suggest a brief recess without disrupting the flow of the meeting. Another situation that commonly arises during conference calls is technical difficulties. If you notice that someone's audio or video connection is unstable, or if you can't hear them clearly, you can say, I think we've lost, and mention the person's name. For example, I think we've lost John. This alerts others that there might be a connectivity issue and allows them to address it. Now let's talk about screen sharing, a common practice during virtual meetings. When you're ready to share your screen, it's helpful to announce it. You can say, I'm going to share my screen now. Can everybody see my screen? I'm going to share my screen now. Can everybody see my screen? This ensures that everyone is aware of the switch in visuals and confirms if everyone can view the content you're sharing. On the topic of screen sharing, it's essential to address the scenario when someone's screen freezes. If you notice this happening, politely inform them by saying, your screen has frozen. Your screen has frozen. This lets the person know that their video has stopped transmitting and they might need to refresh their connection or troubleshoot the issue. Conference calls can often overlap, especially in a fast-paced work environment. In such cases, if you need to attend another call urgently, you can say, I gotta jump on another call. I gotta jump on another call. This indicates that you have to join a different meeting and might need to leave the current one earlier than planned. Lastly, sometimes unexpected situations arise and you might need to leave a conference call abruptly. In such cases, it's considerate to inform the participants by saying, I gotta drop. I gotta drop. This phrase lets everyone know that you need to end your participation in the meeting without providing further details. So now that we've covered some useful phrases, let's discuss a few tips for holding successful online meetings. Tip number 1. Prepare an agenda. Before the meeting, create an agenda outlining the topics to be discussed. This ensures that everyone is on the same page and allows for efficient time management. Tip number 2. Test your equipment. Prior to the call, test your audio and video settings to ensure that they are functioning correctly. This step helps minimize technical difficulties during the meeting. Tip number 3. Establish ground rules. Set expectations for the meeting, such as muting microphones when you're not speaking or using the chat function for questions. Clearly communicating these ground rules at the start can improve overall meeting etiquette. Tip number 4. Engage participants. Encourage active participation by involving all attendees in the discussion. Address individuals by name when seeking their input or feedback. This fosters a collaborative atmosphere and ensure everyone gets a say. Alright, so in this episode of English with Tech Girl, we explored the world of conference calls and discussed useful phrases for effective communication during online meetings. We learned such phrases as, let's take 5 for taking a short break, I think we've lost to address some technical difficulties. We also covered phrases like, I'm gonna share my screen now, can everybody see my screen, or your screen has frozen, for seamless screen sharing experiences. Additionally, we touched on phrases like I gotta jump on another call and I gotta drop for managing overlapping meetings or unexpected situations. Furthermore, I shared valuable tips for holding successful online meetings. These included preparing an agenda, testing equipment beforehand, establishing ground rules, and engaging participants actively. And this wraps up today's episode of English with Tech Girl. I hope you found these conference call phrases and meeting tips helpful in navigating the virtual work environment. At this point, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all my listeners for tuning in. Your support and engagement means the world to me. If you have any suggestions for future topics or any questions, please reach out to me. I'm always here to assist you on your journey to mastering your English in the tech industry. Don't forget to subscribe my podcast, support me on Patreon for extra learning materials, and share the podcast with your colleagues and friends. Stay tuned for more exciting episodes of English with Tech Girl. Until then, keep learning, keep growing, and keep shining in your tech careers. Thanks.